Spokesperson of the new Force, Shalimar Abbiusi, has been rearrested by the Ghana Immigration Service after charges preferred against her were dropped by the state in court today. Shalimar Abbiusi, a Belgian national who was being held for obtaining a student permit, has been arraigned at the Kaneshie District Court. State prosecutors led by the Ghana Immigration on Tuesday dropped the charges against her, but she was shortly rearrested and whisked away amidst protests from her lawyers. And of course, our legal affairs correspondent Richard Kojinyako was there.
Charlie, move it.
So we are here at the precinct of the Kaneshie District Court, where earlier in the court, the prosecution said they had dropped the charges preferred against the spokesperson for the new Force, Shalimar Abbiusi. Just as they stepped down, the state prosecutors, the Ghana Immigration Service, rearrested Shalimar Abbiusi, and the lawyers of the lady would not have any of that. They said that it is an affront to human rights, and so they have filed several actions at the Human Rights Court, and they will compel the Ghana Immigration Service prosecutors in this case to appear before the court, because this action is really in an arbitrary manner, and they will do everything possible to protect the human right, the fundamental human right of Shalimar Abbiusi, who has just been whisked away in their vehicle. Francis Xavier Sosu, who is lawyer for Shalimar Abbiusi, is distraught, is unhappy with the development.
Behavior is this: you came to the court and said that you have asked that the charges against the person be dropped. The charges are dropped, the person is discharged, and then you banded the person as if he's a common criminal here. If you really want the person in your office, from here we'll come to the office. Last week when the court said we should be there 3 times, we were there every single day. So if you knew you were going to do this, what kind of disgrace is this? What kind of international disgrace is this? I mean, are we living in a democracy or we are living in a jungle? Are we living in a democracy or we are living in a jungle? Honestly, I'm sincerely disappointed, because you, the immigration officers, came here and said that her permit has been revoked. If you have revoked a permit, where's the evidence of the revocation? You should have brought it to the court and show it to everybody. Then we would then say that, okay, you have revoked a permit, so you can take it. You didn't do that. Then you banded the person as if he's a common criminal and send her away like that. Why do you behave this way? Why do you behave this way? That is complete assault. It was completely uncalled for. It's completely uncalled for. And I think that, look, we must really watch it. Where we are going, I think that we are sending the wrong signal to the international community. After all, there are Ghanaians who are also in other countries, right? If your citizen is treated this way in another country, will you be happy? Do you know the number of Ghanaians who are abroad? Do you know the number of Ghanaians in Belgium? If your citizens are treated this way, will you be happy? Well, I'll leave it.
So what do you do now?
Well, we have filed a number of actions. As we speak to you now, we have filed an action in the Human Rights Court against them for all other processes they may want to take for purposes of either trying to remove her from the country or not. I'm hoping that by the close of the day or by afternoon, they will all be served with those actions, and they will appear in court to come and answer for what they are doing, because we knew that there's the likelihood that they will be behaving in the manner they are behaving this way. And this is so arbitrary. This should not be tolerated in any democracy.
So here you see the parents of Shalimar Abbiusi, very distraught. They are unhappy with the development, and so they are moving in a car. They are heading straight to the Ghana Immigration Service, where their daughter has just been picked up by the Ghana Immigration Service. It's quite a scene here, and the lawyers for Shalimar Abbiusi are very, very angry. They can't believe what just happened. They say that the state prosecutors are acting in an arbitrary manner, and they have filed a number of actions, some at the Human Rights Court, and then they will make the prosecution, appear before court, because they say that this action that has been taken is quite uncalled for. Reporting for Joy News from the Kaneshie District Court, my name is Richard Kojinyako for Joy News.
Unfortunately, Richard is joining us in studio now. Richard, very touching scenes there. Of course, seeing the parents very worried about what the future will hold now for Abbiusi, as the name is, Shalimar Abbiusi. Let's talk about the next step. What's likely to happen now that the Ghana Immigration Service has taken custody of her?
Also, it was quite a drama. Now that she's been whisked away to the Ghana Immigration Service, I think processes will be activated, and then the repatriation procedure would be activated as well. You know, she was arrested for obtaining student permits under some false declaration. Right. She indicated in the document, according to the prosecution, that she was a student at the Ghana Christian University College, and upon investigations, they found that that was not so. And it was based on that in court today. They announced to the judge that, in fact, they have dropped the charges. And then just as she stepped down, as we saw in our shots, that she was rearrested, and then she was told there and then that her permit to stay in Ghana has been revoked.
So that's where the lawyers have a challenge.
Exactly. He said that, well, they should have come to the court with the revocation letter. But when I spoke with immigration officials, they indicated that also they were simply rearresting her, take her to their premises, and then all the other processes will follow. And so that is what we do know. So that is what we can say now about the next line of action. But she is due to be repatriated later tonight. I understand the time would be about 10 p.m. where she will go back.
The question as to what happened with this very case that Francis Xavier Sosu, the lawyer for Shalimar, are in court for, because he's announcing that there's a human rights court that will now hear a new application is bringing before the court. What exactly is happening there? Well,
so Xavier Sosu's point is that she is also a human being, like the Constitution enjoins all Ghanaians. She also falls under the fundamental human rights of this country and Article Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution. And so she feels that she's not been dealt properly. Her human rights have been violated, and based on that, he has filed certain processes at the Human Rights Court in Accra for the court to invite these people for the process to continue.
And I see that we didn't get any opportunity of hearing from the parents, but they are obviously concerned about what's happening.
Yes, so it was really concerning for the parent. In fact, this was the second time I saw the parent. The last time was last week when they came. I think they were, but this time they were completely broken. When her freedom was granted by the dropping of the charges, they felt that at long last the daughter was free, only for the daughter to be rearrested. And so it was shocking to them. So you saw some of them, the parent, the mother most especially, shedding tears when the vehicle was whisking the daughter away.
Oh, I see. So the point now about confirming whether or not Shalimar belongs to the new force, has that been settled? And what's the future of the political movement, if it is one, now that she's no longer?
Well, so the activities of the new force is somewhat shrouded in secrecy. One does not even know who are really behind this force, but in recent past, we've seen Shalimar herself during the water disaster. She was distributing some relief items, engaging other people, doing some philanthropic work, right, and all of that. Last week, you heard some of the people from Circle indicating that they know her, they've been staying with her.
They've been reading a lot about her in the newspapers.
Exactly. But for the third force in general, people are now nosing around to know who exactly they are, who are behind this force. And I remember that in court, the prosecution indicated that the state was interested in who she was working for, right, whose interest was she serving. And so that is one thing. But what I've gleaned from her is that she is a model. She came to Ghana through some friends, and I think certain things did not go right, and so she fell in the hands of some agency. And then because she's a model, the agency contracted this new force, and then she signed some documents, and that is why you saw her pictures on their billboards and all of that. So it's just like some contractor.
So she's now becoming the beauty queen for the new force.
Exactly. You know, people like what is beautiful, and I'm sure that when you see the billboards, you are inclined to just stay there and observe her.
I didn't see that coming, honestly, because she's been all over the place speaking on behalf of the group.
Exactly, but
now it's turning out that she might have been a model just for the third force.
But
is the third force a fashion?
No, she in particular, what she does is modeling.
All right.
But she was contracted by the third force
to be a model, a
spokesperson. So you
take pictures as well.
No, not really.
Let me just get that really clear.
Not really pictures, but because she speaks for them, no one knows anything about the third force apart from Shalimar Abbiusi, and so she was the face of that. And some of the political parties, they do start like that. They do start, and then very soon controversies will arise.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so
honestly, I've never seen a political movement start with beauty queens.
Yes, just seeing one in Ghana.
Yeah, that's why it's an interesting story. I'm telling you, because we've seen complain about the billboards being put down in town.
Yeah, and that is also concerning for the lawyers I spoke with as well. But in court, there was nothing political. No political discussion or about the political party was tied.
Right.
With the exception of the Immigration Act that has been breached by Shalimar herself because she didn't have the requisite permit to engage in the activity she was engaged in, and that is why they went after her.
Unfortunately, she might be going home. She is going home, as we've confirmed. Now, Richard, thank you for giving us those updates. But it is confirmed now that Shalimar Abbiusi will be leaving the country. That's if anything changes, right? Exactly. Something could change.
Something, because I hear that there is even a press conference coming up. We do not know the time by the Ghana Immigration Service. So we are looking forward to that press conference and what the fallout will be.
A busy day it will be, and we'll be waiting to see if this Belgian national will be deported, as the Ghana Immigration Service is now revoking the residence permit of Shalimar Abbiusi, who's now the known face for this new force, a political movement yet to be uncovered in terms of who the leadership are. But we'll definitely be watching the space. Richard, thank you for updating as we take you now to Parliament, because MP for Ningo Pram and also lead sponsor of the controversial anti-LGBT bill, Sam George, wants Parliament to head to the Supreme Court to ask for some interpretation on Article 108 of the Constitution. President Akufo-Addo told Parliament his refusal to sign some of the private members' bill in the House, which the House had already passed, was because they breached the set section of the Constitution. But Sam George, whose anti-gay bill could face a similar challenge, wants Parliament to just take up a suit at the Apex Court to settle the matter.
The resolution to this matter is for all of us to go to the Supreme Court. Parliament must go to the Supreme Court to seek interpretation of Article 108 and let the judges distinct it for us. Is it the position of the law? Is it the intentment of the framers of the 1992 Constitution that Parliament cannot on its own pass any legislation? And then let's know that Parliament we have here is a rubber stamp Parliament. It cannot pass legislation. But let's go to, it's not about suing President Akufo-Addo. It's about getting a distinction of what the law really is. And that will guide all of us going forward.
Country Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante is joining me with more. This is a rather interesting turn of events, knowing Sam George for his strong conviction about this anti-gay bill and the fact that he's now sort of seeking refuge, if we have to call it that way, in court. Why so? Kweku, we can't hear a word from you. Kweku Asante there, we seem to be having a challenge. Kweku, I'm unable to hear you.
Yeah, the words of George is to get to the point where the Supreme Court pronounces on Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution. There are rival meanings that have been put on those terms in the Constitution. There are the likes of President Akufo-Addo who believe that by Article 108, no private member can introduce a bill to Parliament that imposes a charge on the consolidated fund. That is the president and others who hold that school of thought, that view. There are those like Sam George in Parliament who believe that what 108 says is that in the opinion of the person presiding, So once the Speaker of Parliament makes a determination that this does not need to be considered because it does not impose a charge on the consolidated funds, then the Parliament should proceed and deal with this. And so some judges believe that if you go to the Supreme Court will pronounce on this, and then finally there will be some conclusion on this because he believes the president has completely erred.
Okay, Kwaku Asante there, giving us some more explanation to what's happening. We'll definitely be watching the space. Thank you, Kwaku, for joining us.